Good morning. Hello, crafty friends, and happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are all doing well out there. I should also say happy St. Patrick's Day. I have a little surprise today. Just wanted to get all dressed up for the occasion. Woo! So I've got my rainbow glasses with a pot of gold on each end, which makes me happy. And don't worry, I won't make you look at these the whole live. I know it's, I was having a conversation here with Sarah today, and she just kept laughing. So I was like, I guess I better take these off because it's kind of hard to take me seriously with these glasses on my face. But super fun. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you. Does anybody have plans today for St. Patrick's Day? Anything fun that you like to do? Are you wearing green? I do have a touch of green on my sweater today, and I've seen lots of people in the office here sporting the green for St. Patrick's Day. So we have a super fun release for you today that launched at 9 a.m. So I know many of you have been shopping. Raise your hand in the comments if you got your order placed already. It is our much anticipated Pick Your Pairings release. We do these twice a year where we solicit the ideas from you, our customers. And so this is a release that you guys have requested, which makes it even more fun. We have some fun things going on our Fans of Tailored Expressions page on Facebook. Those who suggested ideas that were selected, they received the product for free, and then they are participating by posting a project in the album on our Facebook Fans of Tailored Expressions Facebook page. So head over there and check them out. Leave them some love. Leave them some comments and tell them how much you love their projects and their ideas. For those of you that submitted ideas and did not get selected, hey, please keep submitting your ideas. We get so many every time. We had over, I said this on the release review, we had over 600 individual cells on our spreadsheet to go through, and we went through every single one of them. And because your idea was not selected does not mean it was a bad idea. So there are lots of things we take into consideration, including how some of the products are all going to work together when we put them into a single release. So really excited today, and thank you to all of you for sharing your ideas with us. I hope you love what we came up with your suggestions. So let's talk about our promo before we get into crafting. I'm going to pop it up on the screen here so you can see. We are offering free with purchases of $200 or more. So our regular $100 freebie is still in effect. It's a beautiful, fun, springy background stamp. But if you get up to the $200 level, you are going to get this exclusive Tailored Expressions palette knife set and a teal happy medium glitter paste. So we have never had a teal paste before, which makes this really fun. And we also have those teal wooden handled palette knives. They are really nice, high quality. I like a good high quality palette knife. There are great things about the silicone spatula palette knives as well. I still have all of those in my collection, but as we continue to use these, we're going to share what we love about these metal palette knives with the wooden handles, and you have the opportunity to get it for free when you purchase $200 or more. And that is while supplies last. So we do have it going through next week, Tuesday morning, if we can get there with our supplies, but get your order in soon. So, all right, we are gonna get crafty together then. Are we ready? Let me say hi to some people as we get started here today. Hi Gail Stender. Hello, Mindy. Rachel's here. Deb. And a special shout out to Louise here at Tailored Expressions. She celebrates her birthday on St. Patrick's Day. So happy birthday to Louise. And we've got Lisa here. Of course, Whitney's here today. She's
I got my green on.
Do you? Okay, no pinching Whitney today. No. She remembered her green. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the items we're going to be using to create the projects today. So, I'm going to show you. This is what we're going to be making. 4 cards in 1 hour. Can you believe it? It's going to happen right before your eyes. So I'm going to be using a quad stencil to make these. I'm going to walk you through the products that I will be using. And we have first the Create in Quads layering stencil. So this is what creates those panels that you saw. 4 different panels, and the cool thing about this is there's clear stamps included. This idea from Kristen, she loved our Smiley squad so much that she wanted a quad stencil to create smiley face patterned designs. So we're going to be using the Smiley Squad Create in Quad. I also have lots of extras that I like to use when I use quads. One of those is the A2 large scallop stacklets. Of course, also helpful to have our A2 layer stacklets and our additional A2 layer stacklets to cut out those panels. We have another suggestion from Tracy, I believe it was, who wanted more sentiments to go along with the smiley faces. So I will be using the So Many Smiles along with the coordinating dies for those. And then a couple of extras. I like to pop in some additional mini strips. I have the Foilet mini strips occasions that I'll be using, along with a couple additional dies. We have our Little Bits stars and the Suns Out. I'll be putting those little sunglasses and glasses on a couple of the panels you can see here. When you put a pair of glasses on a smiley face, doesn't it just make you smile even bigger? I think it is so fun, and I did want to make a quick mention about these. The Suns Out product is actually going to be retired once it sells out. So I know we have limited quantity of this die, but I wanted to assure you that we are working on bringing out some different sizes of glasses that you can continue to put not only on the smiley faces, but on some of our critters and our treat boxes. Sue Banker, who works here at TE, she loves to put glasses on everything. So having even more sizes will be helpful, but this set in particular is limited quantity. So if you want that in your order specifically to work with the cards I'm making today, then get that added before it runs out. And then last but not least, I'll be using the embossing folder Halftone dots to add some patterning to my background die cuts. Okay, so let's get started crafting. I am gonna grab my sugar cube cardstock to start with. I have this 8.5 by 11 size, and I am going to use it in this way, in this size. I know a lot of our products talk about cutting it down to 8 by 10.5, which you can do, and then line it up behind the etch markings on the stencil. However, lately I have been using a full sheet and just remembering to trim off that outer edge before I cut my panels down. So that's what I will be doing here. I have layer 1 of that Smiley Squad stencil to start with. And now that I'm getting into my blending, I want to hear from you all. Let me know in the comments, did you have a favorite product from the Pick Your Pairings, something that you were so excited to see? Maybe even something that you yourself also suggested. I know we had lots of duplicate suggestions, and when that happens, we give the win to the person who suggested it first. However, I know lots of you had duplicate suggestions, which also helps us because then we know lots of people want this idea, and it makes our job easy to choose certain ones when many people have suggested it. Okay, so I'll wait for your comments to come in today, and then we'll start blending with the Bubblegum ink is going to be the first color going across this quad stencil.
A lot of people are saying sundry sentiments.
Ooh, yes, more sundry sentiments. That was something we offered at our in-person Stamp Joy event this past fall. I know it was a goodie bag inclusion, and it's great to get it into our collection. Sundry Sentiments is one of our most popular sentiment sets. So glad you guys are loving that one. Somebody else I saw said the bows, the Wallflowers bows. So that's fun too. All right. Oh, yes. Kat says the hello and welcome dies. Those are fun, the script ones. I know Maggie, who works here in the office, was the one that suggested those, and she's got some fun cards shared on the Fans of TE page today. Good morning, Charlotte. Let's see. Somebody says, Candy says, I love the iridescent, but I have a jar of teal. Is this freebie the same? I believe the teal that you may have is from a previous advent calendar, and I think it was more of a butter paste. Yeah, not a glitter paste. So this one is filled with glitter, and lots of glitter, and it dries clear. So the paste that you have, I believe, if it's the one I'm remembering, that would be one that dries teal colored and is opaque on your paper. More like a lunar paste than an astro paste. So less glittery and more shimmery. Oh, Denine's excited about the rack stamps. I love that idea. I love the idea of doing random acts of kindness. So when Kristen suggested that, I thought it was perfect to add into this release. All right, so I'm taking a little bit of dragon fruit, and I'm gonna add that to these bubblegum dots just to give them a little bit of dimension. You guys know me by now. I don't do a lot of blending without choosing two coordinating colors or doing some kind of darker blend. Also, I forgot to mention when I was face on screen, but the color combination that I chose for my cards today was actually inspired by my sweater. So let me see if I can get it in here. Here, I wore this actually on the day we were testing this stencil, and I thought, you know what? I want to use the colors in my sweater. And so that's how this color combination came about. And that is one thing I love to do, is look at patterns and shirts and different clothing to get ideas for cards. Anybody else do that? You go to the store looking for something and you end up finding your next favorite color combination. So I do love looking at products in that way. Somebody asked this, is this like the glitter stuff we used at staycation? I'm having a hard time remembering back to staycation and what we used glitter paste on.
In your vase.
Oh, yes, it is the same as that. This is just a colored version with the teal glitter instead of, I think the one we used at staycation inside of our squishy vase was just our iridescent that was plain clear glitter. All right, let's take off that layer 1. We'll save the pieces of teal tape and use those on the next layer. Oh, Charlotte says, thank you to whoever suggested the grandparent edition set. It was the first in her cart today. I think that was Stacy who suggested that one. So thank you. I loved that idea too. No, lots of people, I hear, it seems in a lot of conversations, people having grandbabies, and those are some fun sentiments. Little bit of a jokey, snarky, if you like that. Or there's some sweet in that Insiders set too. So a little bit of everything. Okay, layer 2, we're gonna go with Wintergreen. And this one, I'm gonna lay down straight onto, actually, hold please. I can see a hair. Apparently I'm shedding today. Okay, I saw a hair trapped underneath my stencil and I didn't want to be moving it around on my paper while I was blending. All right, so this layer is going to be just the wintergreen, and then after I lay down that first color, or that first layer of color, I'm going to come back and add just a little bit of dimension with the same color. So I'm trying not to be too heavy-handed with this first layer of blending so that I have room to come back and use the same ink pad to add some of those dimensional details. That is one of the things that, you know, if you know you want to use dimensional detailing and you only have one ink pad, you want to tell yourself, make sure you're a little bit lighter handed with that first initial blend across the paper, because if you do get it too dark and too intense, you don't have room to add that dimension with the same color ink. Right. You can use a detail blender brush to add additional color, but since these openings are fairly large, I'm just going to take really intense color and kind of concentrate it over towards one side of the opening. Kind of pushing that ink into the edge of the stencil. I'm not going over the entire dot, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be a dimensional detail, it would just be filling in the entire piece with a darker color. So guess what? We are supposed to have, I think, 80 degrees, between 70 and 80 degrees this weekend. Which this is Iowa for you. If you live in the Midwest, you know this time of year is crazy when it comes to weather, and we had a blizzard on Sunday. There's still, Susan tells me, still cars in the ditch on her way to work that they gotta get out from that blizzard that happened over the weekend. I know. And then to think it's all just gonna turn around and we're going to be outside in shorts and t-shirts in just a few short days. And I cannot wait because I am ready for spring. I'm ready for warmer weather and sunshine and, yes, all of those things. Let's see. The stencil I'm using, that was a question just asked. This one is new today, and it's called Create in Quads Smiley Squad, and it has both layering stencil and then the clear stamps come in the same package so that you can add your smiley faces. So this third layer, it might take a little more concentration from me because we're actually going to be using two colors on this one layer. So when I went to pick out my color combination, there were 5 main colors in my sweater that I wanted to incorporate into this design. But there's only 4 layers of the stencil, so I had to come up with a creative way to do that. So we're going to start with the cake pop. I'm going to do both the yellow and the purple on this layer. So up here at the top, I'm going to hit the cake pop on this little dot and this dot. As long as I stay kind of in my lane here, I shouldn't have to wash my stencil in between, but actually it might just be a good idea either way. I don't want to mess it up while I'm live in front of everyone. So I am doing purple on the letters, and then the yellow will be the little kind of sprinkles and such around the outside. So over here again, the letters of the word thank you are blended with cake pop. And then on this one, a little bit more random. We've got this dot down here will be purple, think I only did a couple of purples on this one. And this one up here. I think I did okay to go ahead with the yellow, but just in case, let's go ahead and take this off. I'm just gonna move it off to the side of my glass mat here, keeping my paper down, and spray this. Very lightly spraying it so that I don't get the spray on my paper. And then we'll wipe that purple off. Okay, whoops, I took the lid with me here. I'm also gonna just wipe around the outside edge so that I don't drag this wintergreen color that's around the outside here onto my project. All right, so my stencil's dry and we'll go ahead and put it right back down in the same spot. And then I'll grab my yellow colors to fill in the rest. Okay, tack that down. So first I've got sweet corn. I do want to be really careful not to hit these. I might even grab some of my Post-it removable labeling tape just so that I have that extra peace of mind. Put that up there. A little bit down here, and then we can use those pieces and kind of move them around as I go. A little bit of sweet corn. Put this one over here. Like I said, some concentration needed here.
Quiet, please.
Yes. Quiet on the field. Or isn't that golf where they hold their hands up until you can make noise? I've never actually been to a golf event before in person. I've always just watched on TV, but I think that's what they do. Hold your hand up until it's okay to make noise. You guys can make all the noise you want. I'm just not very chatty as I get this done here. All right. I do have, I think my sweater has more of a look of Dijon on it, and so I wanted to add a little bit of Dijon to the design here. Not necessarily to my little sprinkles. They don't really have enough area to need a dimensional blend on them. But in this top left and bottom right quadrants, I'm going to take the Dijon next and give it a hit of that more kind of brownish gold color. So I will do that with a detail blender brush. And just add that darker color there. These were definitely colors I would not have picked to put together until I had this sweater on and thought, huh, that looks like cake pop. That was my first thought, was that the purple in my sweater looked like cake pop, and then it all just happened from there. Okay, almost done with this third layer. It's the toughest one. This last layer will be easy. And then we can get on to cutting apart our projects, or our blended panels, and putting together the cards. All right, let's go on with layer 4. And I'm using those alignment squares that are blended off into the margins in order to line up the panel perfectly. This particular stencil does have some overlapping areas, so just so everybody's aware of that, that's not a mistake. Okay, last layer then is watermelon. This is not a color that I grab for super often, but in my sweater, it looks kind of like a cross between persimmon and watermelon. I went a little bit darker on this because I just thought it went a little bit better with the rest of the colors. So you kind of have to shift your inspiration to fit the rest of the colors that you have in your combo, which is what I did on this. I didn't have the perfect match for this red, but watermelon was the best option. Charlotte says she's giddy watching all of these colors go on to the stencil. Well, I'm glad. Sometimes I feel like, you know, blending a stencil, we've done it how many times, but I always try to give little tips as I go so that you pick up something. Or maybe if don't teachers say you have to hear something 7 times before it actually sets in to your brain? So maybe you've heard me say before, I'm blending clockwise and counterclockwise as I go across this stencil, but unless you've heard it 7 times, it's not going to stick when you're ready to do it yourself. And the reason for going in both directions is so that you get that most consistent application of the ink across the openings of your stencil. If you're always going in the same direction, the ink is most intense when you first come off of your ink pad, and then you're continuing to hit that circle in the same way, the same direction, and you're going to get that line on one edge. So when I'm laying down my first layer of color, I'm going in all directions, and it's kind of hard to catch unless I'm verbalizing it because my hand is moving so fast you might not see it change direction. I'm trying to get on my Olympic speed blending team with Heather Nichols. I know Olympic speed blending, we joke because Heather is known for blending really fast when she teaches classes, and that is great when you're, you know, alone in your own craft room or even people just watching you craft, but not always as great when you want people to follow along with you. So we tease Heather about being an Olympic speed blender. All right, here we go. Let's pull this up. So that's a good question. Leanne asked, how do we submit our ideas for Pick Your Pairings? Do we wait until we're asked for the ideas, or is there somewhere to submit them? So that's a great question. We do put out a form on our Fans of Tailored Expressions Facebook page, usually about 3 months in advance of the release. So I believe December was when we put out this particular call for product ideas, and we usually leave it up for 2 or 3 weeks, so we try to give everybody a lot of time to notice it, and we mention it in newsletters, etc. So that's how we do it currently. And then I know people have kind of tips and tricks for keeping their own product suggestions during that in-between time when we don't have a form available. So I know people leave them on their notes in their phones. So they just have a specific note dedicated when they're crafting and they think of an idea, they put it in the note. And then when it comes time to give those suggestions in our form, you just pull out your note. I mean, even a sticky note could work, document on your computer, whatever you have nearby while you're crafting, because that's usually when the ideas hit. So you're using something and you're like, gosh, it would be really nice if I wish I had a foilet for this sentiment set, or I wish I had, I don't know, a die that went with this image. So that is how we do it right now. Thanks for asking that question for anybody that wants to join us next time. Okay, so there's our panel. The fun thing about this is you can actually use these without the smiley faces. So they do come with that clear stamp, and we'll add those on here before we cut it, but you don't have to use those. You can just have cute little polka dots and thank you and happy birthday pattern. But I am going to use the smileys, so we're gonna take a minute here and add the faces. And I'm gonna do that with an acrylic block and the VersaFine Clair ink. I just find it easier and quicker to do it this way. I think I did use maybe 3 different faces on this first panel that I'm working on here. And the ones that go off to the side, we are going to want to hit those. However, I don't want to do it yet because otherwise I'm going to come over into my other panel. So actually I think I'm going to stop here and we'll go ahead and cut these apart so that I don't accidentally mess any of my other panels up. As I mentioned before, I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off of each edge of my 8.5 by 11. And that, then when you cut that apart, that's going to give you 4 panels that are A2 layer size, which is 4 by 5 1/4, to fit perfectly on your A2 card base. Okay. So then this piece that we have is 8 by 10 1/2, which means you can cut it in half at 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll go ahead and cut at 4 first, and then 5 1/4. There's 2 panels, and 5 1/4 again. There's our other 2 panels. Okay, now let's get back to our smiley making. Whitney, you said you can't stop smiling. It's such a happy project.
I can't!
I know, it's great. I do love it. How can smiley faces just not make someone smile? All right. I want to make sure that I am saving this one up here for the smiley face that I found worked best with the glasses that I want to put on it. So, and I'm not going to do this pink one because the sentiment is going to cover it. All right, there's that one. Then we'll take this guy off, and this is the face that I want to use on the green one so that my glasses can sit on that. Okay, one done. Let's move to our happy birthday. We're going to use some of the smaller smileys in the set. We'll go with this one. And I put a couple smileys inside the peas, like that. And then we'll go ahead and add a smiley to all of our little dots around the edges.
Once you get started with the smileys, it's kind of like, can't stop, won't stop.
I know. Can I just keep adding them everywhere?
Put them here.
Okay, let's do our thank you again because that's going to be the same small smiley face. And this one I didn't put smileys on every single dot because I left a few of the dots to put some stars in. I'm going to use the other tiny smiley face. All right. This one. All right, and the thank you, we want a big one in the middle of the O. That's going to be this one. And then our sunglasses are going to go on that one. See how easy this is? It's so simple and fast to do, especially when you're following a sample that's already done for you. So hooray for that. All right, we'll go down here with the big one. These dots are all kind of different sized, and so you kind of have to play around with which face fits in the different dots. And I'll definitely have to be washing my hands and my glass mat after doing all of these. I'm trying extra hard to not get my fingers in any of the black ink that's around on my glass board. And then a couple of small faces in there. Everybody still out there? Okay, and last, I'm just kind of picky choosy different ones to put them in here. Not all of them. I like to have a few left without faces. Okay, let's clean up. I got black all over my fingers, so that needs to be cleaned up first. And then I have a new shiny toy to share with everyone. We got a new shiny toy in our craft room, and I am loving it. Okay, get my fingers, make sure I got everything off of there too. Okay, feeling good. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and cut these down, and that's where my new shiny toy comes in, because I have a new die cut machine to share. I've shared this with you guys before, but today is a little bit different because we do have a few in stock on the Tailored Expressions website. So if you've been looking for one of these die cut machines, then grab it from TE. I know we look to get more in the future, so if we do run out of stock, keep looking back. But here is my shiny new toy. I love it. It's so sleek, and I shared before my absolute favorite feature is this handle that comes off with the push of a button, and then it just clicks back into place. Amazing. Love that, because I have a couple other machines where my screw has come out and my handle is popping off, and there's nothing more frustrating than that. So, all right, let's grab then the A2 Layer Stacklets is what I'm going to be using to cut out some of these panels. I'm going to be doing the thank you panel first, and I'm using the 4th largest of the A2 Layer Stacklets to cut that out. So we'll pop that on here, centering. We're going to cut off just a little bit of our design. Looks good. Okay, there's that one. Let's do our happy birthday next. Okay. Send that one through. The Big Shot is so quiet. Yes, it is. It is kind of quiet. I hadn't noticed that. Lori noticed the Big Shot is quiet. All right, then this last panel are those largest dots, and we're going to cut out those faces. You wouldn't necessarily have to cut these down, but I decided to cut them down so I had room to place them on another die cut panel, just to give more interest to the card designs. Okay, so that was A2 Layer Stacklets. Now let's take our last panel, which is this one, and I'm going to cut that out a little bit smaller with the additional A2 Layer Stacklets and the 5th smallest. I'll leave a little bit of white space at the top, kind of position my die cut a little farther towards the bottom. Get the faces in there as much as I can. And then we'll cut this one out. All right, so we have both of our, or all 4 of our panels cut. Now before I put my die cut machine away, I want to make sure, get all my tape off of here. You can still rest your little extra tape pieces up on your machine. And since I don't have a caddy for this machine, it's worth mentioning, I transitioned my Scotch removable tape into one of the Tailored Expressions Share Joy tape dispensers. So we have these, they are weighted on the bottom, so that's a nice feature. And that's where I'll be storing my tape now. Okay, before I put my die cut machine away, I'm gonna do a little bit of embossing, and we're gonna do an ink dragging technique. So I've got a couple of these already die cut from dragon fruit and watermelon, and I'm going to emboss them with the halftone dots. So I took out my thin die adapter piece of the machine. So it's just that bottom plate. And then I want to make sure that I'm lining this up perfectly straight across since this pattern is directional, you want to make sure that it is straight. And we'll do one. Oh, I got to get my other plate in here. Okay. All right, there's what that looks like. We'll set it aside and do the other pink one, and then we'll come back and do what I talked about, that ink, dragging an ink pad across it to highlight these dots. Okay, that looks straight. All right, so we've got 2 of those. I think my die cutting is done for today. I've pre-die cut everything else. So in order to give a little highlight to these fun dots, I have a sugar cube ink pad. It does have a little bit of a warp to it, so I am just gonna kind of place this down on my surface so that it doesn't pop up for me in the center. And then I'm going to take my ink pad and hold it parallel to the surface of the cardstock and just kind of drag lightly across those dots. Lightly is the key here. You can go in different directions, so if there's one area that doesn't seem like it's getting hit, you can come back and hit just that area. But now you can see how that looks. If I bring this up into the camera, you can see the pattern of the dots a little bit better. I think I need a little bit of adhesive on this one too. Just to tack that down flat so it's not popping up on me while I'm trying to drag this evenly across. Another thing that is really helpful when you're doing this technique is to have an ink pad that's not super juicy. So Heather talks about how she likes to keep her sugar cube a little more on the dry side. So just after you get it and you've used it for a while, don't re-ink it back up to that full strength that it was at when you received it. Leave it a little bit on the drier side Obviously not so dry that it's not inking your images, but that will allow you to more easily control that different type of pigment ink. Okay, I'm gonna clean off my glass board again. I think we're to the part of this live where we're doing assembly. Gotta put some elbow grease into that adhesive. Susan always teases me because I use the red adhesive. I'm probably just used to grabbing it, but this is the permanent adhesive when I adhere down to my glass mat. And she always uses the green one, which I should just get in a better habit of using this. It's the removable one, so it's gonna come off a little bit easier. I don't have to use as much elbow grease. Okay, so let's go ahead and start adhering things. We have these two panels I will start with, and then this one. I have pre-cut the slightly larger layering stacklet from Wintergreen cardstock that's going to layer behind the one that we die cut, and that's going to go on this side. And then our other panel here, this one is going to take the big dot smileys. And then the other two panels, I did these ahead of time just to save some time. But I have a wintergreen panel that is stenciled with our, gosh, what did we call this one? Lots of dots, something maybe, lots of dots stencil. And then I stamped this one with the Funfetti background stamp. So adding just a little bit of interest to those as well. So we've got the thank you and the happy birthday. So thank you. Our happy birthday is going to go on the red and thank you on the green. Now you get to watch me do some major adhering. I'm going to bring in my trusty little box of foam tape. Actually, it looks like I should give a shout out to Sarah if she's watching. It looks like my roll of 1x3 foam strips, we're getting to the end of it inside of this box. So we'll have to.
Just kind of disappear.
They do. I mean, and they're so useful. I love the thin foam because it allows me to pop up a couple of different layers on my cards without feeling like I've gotten them, overly dimensional for mailing. So that's why I use the thin foam often, so that I can pop up more than one thing on my card without having too much dimension. All right, so we'll put the thank you here. The pre-die cut panels here are from our A2 large scallop stacklets set. Okay. And I find that if I push them down into my paper, it makes peeling up the backing paper a little bit easier. If it's not pushed all the way onto your paper, it wants to actually pull up the adhesive with it. But if you've pushed it into your paper, then that stays behind and you can just grab the backing paper more easily. Okay, I'm going happy birthday here. 2 down, 2 to go, and then we get to embellish with all of our little extras. The embossing folder I used was not the Swiss dots. It was the halftone dots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you could use the Swiss dots. I think because you'll see when I adhere this panel that we're actually going to be covering up most of the dots. Oh no. Hey, that's kind of fun actually. Okay, my ink wasn't dry yet, and I turned my smiley faces over into it, so I have some little polka dots on my smileys, but it's actually kind of fun. I don't think they look like they have chicken pox, but be careful if your sugar cube ink is not dry, like mine wasn't. Don't put your blended panel on top of it. But you're going to see when I go to lay this panel down, we aren't going to see a lot of those dots. So the Swiss dots is a little bit less condensed dot pattern, and so you might not see as much of it once you've covered it up with your blended panel. All right. And that one is good. And when you're adhering to something embossed, just make sure you press it down really well. This layer is going to go directly on the wintergreen. And then the wintergreen will get popped up on top of our embossed scallop panel. All right. You guys are getting to watch a lot of foam taping. But the exciting part for me in finishing these completely is I've got 4 more cards to add to my stash. All right, let's center that one. Press it down really good. Okay, so I've got my card bases ready here, and I'll pull those in. 2 of them are Strawberry Milkshake. I know the ink color that we used was Bubblegum, but I thought when I got finished with the cards, I actually kind of liked the Strawberry Milkshake a little bit better. So we have 2 Strawberry Milkshake and 2 Cake Pop, and we'll go ahead and adhere those. This one is going to go on my Strawberry Milkshake. And then we'll do this one. This one will go on a Cake Pop. I've got 2 vertical card bases and 2 horizontal. Then we've got Thank You on the Strawberry Milkshake. And Happy Birthday on the Cake Pop. All right, couple little extras. Let's get my foam tape out of the way here. I have already die cut the glasses for both of my cards. I made one of the pairs into sunglasses using our disco foil paper, and then one of them just a plain pair of black framed glasses. So we can adhere those down to the 2 cards here. This glasses pair is going to go on my green smiley on the big dot card. Just got to make sure I can see both of his eyes in the openings of the glasses. Ha! So cute. Makes me smile. And then we have the sunglasses for the thank you card. Cover up those eyes like that. Okay, so I have a couple other sentiments then to adhere to these. As I mentioned, I was using the So Many Smiles sentiment set, which is new for Pick Your Pairings. I had these pre-done. They are stamped with VersaFine Clair and embossed with clear embossing powder. And we'll go ahead and pop those on, again with a little bit of foam tape. This is the thin foam, so I'm not popping it up too much. Still easily mailed. This one is Sending Happy Thoughts, I think, and that's going to go on our smaller dotted panel. Right about here. Okay, and then we've got You Make Me Smile, which will go on our bigger panel. Just a touch too long, so I'll have to cut off some more of this tape here. Donna says the frames and mats make everything pop. They sure do. All right, so You Make Me Smile popped up in the middle of this one. And then I have a couple other sentiment strips here. These say Celebrating You and You Are Appreciated. I thought we just needed something more on these panels. So this is from the Foilet Occasions, I think it's called. I showed it at the beginning and then forgot what it was called. Yeah, Foilet Mini Strips Occasions. So You Are Appreciated. This one is going to obviously go on the thank you. These letters are big enough that you can kind of overlap your sentiments too. The name of the die for the glasses, Whitney can add that link, but it is called Sun's Out.
And it is sold out.
It's sold out. Okay.
So we'll come out with something different soon.
Okay, yes, I did mention that at the beginning, that I knew that this particular die was not going to be restocked once it sold out, but we do have plans to add more glasses to our collection in different sizes too, so that you can, you know, maybe have them work for our little critters that we're doing each month, our fun little critter crew.
Sunglasses for everything.
Yes.
It's going to be like Jill and Googly Eyes.
Right. Yes. What can we put sunglasses on? Anything that we can put a face on can have sunglasses on it. So, all right. Then this one says Celebrating You. And that's going to go here on the happy birthday. I did add some other little details. I added some clay stars and some of our little bits and pieces glitter drops. I used the new Wintergreen color that I hadn't pulled out before. I cut more of those stars out of the disco foil cardstock to match the sunglasses. And one more thing I wanted to show you today, since we're not quite out of time yet, but something I want to get into the habit of is stamping the back of my cards. So I make a lot of cards and I often forget to put my personalized stamp on them. So I'm just going to do that here at the end of my live. And I'm going to grab my Misty. I'm going to open this up and show you my cool, fun, personalized stamp. And just in case you are not aware, Tailored Expressions makes custom stamps, custom personalized stamps for the backs of your cards. You can actually customize address stamps, return address stamps, that kind of stuff as well. So you can check it out. Actually, we have a separate website for that. And the reason we do that is because our stamps typically take 6 weeks to turn around. So we are completely customizing those. We make them in-house from our rubber manufacturing. And so they do take a little bit of time. So especially if you're using it as a gift, you would want to make sure you order that with plenty of time for us to make it. But there it is. Sending handmade hugs and lots of love from Taylor's Craft Room. So let me pop in my other ones here. I've got one more horizontal. And the website for that, did I say that? I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
It's temadeforme.com.
Our mom is on this live, so don't mention what you got her from
Okay. Hi, Mom. All right, let's go ahead and I'm just going to wipe off my ink a little bit so that I can do the vertical ones. I need to reposition. Now, I know some people who will keep a Misty, mini Misty, in fact, set up with their stamp all the time. And that's a great idea. That's something I need to work towards because typically I am making mostly vertically oriented cards, but keeping one set up for all of my cards would just make it easier to stamp them when it's time. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Why don't I do this more? I have about 5 panels worth of different handmade stamps. So you're going to be seeing more of these. I'm hoping to just end my lives with a quick little stamp of the back of my cards and get a chance to use lots of the different ones that I have in my craft room. So one last thing to make sending even easier, we have our insiders panels, and that's another thing. This is Taylor hoping to get into new habits. I want to add these sentiments onto my cards so they're just ready to go. So I've got sending happy thoughts, you're a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. And I did already have these foiled, so you can foil these if you choose, but you don't have to. It just makes it so easy. Now it's ready to sign it. Signed, sealed, delivered. All right, then I've got You Make Me Smile, sending you a bit of sunshine to brighten your day. These first 2 panels, this one is from the Insiders Sunny Days. And then these last 2 that I'm going to use are from the Insiders Alphabets. And then we've got Thank you. Life is better with friends like you. Thanks for being so amazing. This is the one from the Alphabets panel, and you can see these are all just sized perfectly to fit inside your A2 card. So if you haven't checked out our Insiders collection, here's your opportunity. And then this one, happy birthday. May this year bring exciting adventures and unforgettable memories. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today, for crafting up these 4 fun, hopefully really cheerful cards to make somebody smile. Let me come back to you here and give you kind of a little bit of a what's happening the rest of this week around Tailored Expressions. So Heather will be live on Thursday. She's using something from the Pick Your Pairings release, a stamp that she illustrated called Bursting with Love, another suggestion from all of you. And I know I love her project. I've seen it, and you guys are going to love it too. So tune in 10 a.m. Central Time on Thursday. And then Whitney and I will be back on Saturday for our release reveal video, where we give you the earliest sneak peek at what's coming the following Tuesday for our release. And next week's going to be a fun one, so don't miss it. I think that's it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. If you're getting warm weather near you, I hope you enjoy it. And if you are already sitting in warm weather, please enjoy it for all of us that are cold still. So have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.